Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Kathy Kuntz, the Executive Director of Cool Choices, and I'm delighted you can join me today for a conversation about customization options around our program, how some of that works. I'll give you kind of a little bit of quick background, and we'll leap right into the conversation about customization. I think some of you are familiar with us. For those of you who aren't, we're a nonprofit based in Wisconsin, and our quest is to inspire people to adopt sustainable practices. We primarily partner with businesses and local units of government and even whole communities to inspire sustainable practices in an effort to shift cultures so that people are making sustainable choices as the new normal. One of the primary ways we do that is through our online platform. So we've created an online platform where entities can implement a 6-week program where employees sign up and on a daily basis claim points for their sustainable practices. And the entire thing is framed as a game. You win points, there's a leaderboard. The system is intentionally transparent so that everyone playing can see what other folks are doing. And we do a whole bunch of things to facilitate offline conversations. So while people spend relatively little time in our system every day, what we're essentially doing is creating evidence for them and their peers that sustainable practices are happening all around folks in an effort to move momentum forward. That's kind of the framework of this. And you know, the functionality of the system is set and really based on principles from behavioral science. There's enormous opportunity, though, to customize the content. So these specific actions that people might claim in a program. And that's what I'll mostly talk about today, kind of the sorts of customization that we see folks doing and some of what happens through those various options at customization. When we start a conversation with an entity, we're typically asking them, you know, what are your priorities? Why are you thinking about engagement? What's going on for you? And really, there are a variety of answers we hear. Folks want more participation. They want more momentum. They might want new ways to think about these things. They might just need a refresh in what they're doing. We'll kind of talk through some of those various things. I think one of the primary things we hear most often is that folks want to engage everyone. They want to expand the tent. You know, very often an entity can end up with a small green team that's leading the quest on sustainability, and it's really hard for them to engage the broader population. And so offering a program that's fun, that's social, can easily kind of expand that tent in significant ways. Sometimes tied to that wanting to expand is that there might be specific other things that folks want people to do. So we see this a lot in community-based programs, that there are maybe other programs available from the energy utility, from the water utility, from local units of government, things that folks want employees to also get engaged in. And that's one of the kind of simple ways we can customize things. We can increase participation in those other programs simply by giving points within our system for participating in those other programs. So here's an illustration. This is a customized action about borrowing an energy savings kit from your local library. When a participant flips this card over, they see a fun fact about the program and links that take them straight to the list of libraries, the information about the kit. So we're making it really easy for people to participate in those existing programs. And we've been doing more and more of this as we do community scale programs. We did a program last year in Waukesha County where we encourage people to participate in the state efficiency program as an example, and got a couple hundred folks to participate in one program there. So some really nice response rates around participating in other programs. Kind of related to this program participation, another thing I think we hear a lot as a goal from entities is to identify new leaders. So this might be that a green team is looking to expand into new areas in the company. We need volunteers. We need to know who's interested in these issues, or it can manifest in other ways. So let me give you maybe a couple of examples. One of our partners last year, Kohler, kind of falls into that first category. They really were interested in setting up green teams in some departments that didn't have green teams previously. So in their program, we integrated some ways to solicit interest in green teams, including at the post-program survey, putting that question out there for folks. Are you interested in joining a green team in your department? And almost 10% of participants overall indicated interest. So that was a really good response rate for them. And they could look then also at activity within the program to go, oh yeah, this is someone who's really interested in doing things. Look at all the actions they took. So there's some ways for them to vet that. Another good example of identifying new leaders, our colleagues at InPro have sort of developed a creative way to do this. So part of what is typically generated in a program are ideas from employees about additional ways the organization could reduce waste or save energy or water. And the sustainability manager at InPro goes through those ideas and identifies really promising ones and then circles back to the idea generator. So she's got the ideas and who authored them. So she can go, as an example I'm making up on the spot, to the accounting team and say, oh, Liz, you had this great idea about how accounting could reduce its paper use. I want to work with you to implement that idea. So really, Amanda becomes a kind of mentor to Liz in accounting, empowering her to lead this initiative in their department to reduce waste in that department, which I think is a really nice way to do that. The other thing I would maybe say about identifying new leaders is because we've got a team-based program and self-identified team captains, we've had certainly more than one partner say to us that they were just really impressed by some of the team captains who emerged during their program. So it's folks that they hadn't realized would take initiative in this way and encourage others. And it's a very low risk way to think about identifying folks with management potential in some ways. And so we've seen certainly a couple of entities do that. So there's lots of ways to make that kind of identifying new leaders. Probably the other really big way that folks, when we say, what are your priorities? When we engage employees, what do you want to see happen? We get this sense that they're really just interested in jump-starting what they're doing around sustainability. Lots of the companies we work with have been doing this for a while, and you come to a place where it all seems a little bit routine. We want to create some new energy around this, and certainly by getting a quarter or more of your workforce involved in celebrating sustainable practices, that can be some really important initiative around accelerating results. I always think about this quote from Morgan at Menasha Corporation that when you've got sorry, I have this cough that only happens when I talk. An entire employee population moving in the same direction, everybody understanding the vision around sustainability. That's a really powerful thing and can really take things to the next level for an organization. And, some of the ways we help make that happen, so perhaps we include an action that people get points for going and reading part of the sustainability report and learning a cool thing that was accomplished last year. So they're more excited about what's happened in the organization. There's kind of a variety of ways we can do things like that. A goal I think we hear less immediately, but as we talk becomes more important as a customization priority, is thinking about how the organization can use the program to integrate sustainability with other important values. So certainly as the person leading sustainability, you're thinking about how to accomplish that, but there are peers within your organization who are thinking about health or safety or quality, and those are all things that if you can leverage the momentum they've got around those issues. If I think about our work in some heavy manufacturing settings where safety is a really strong cultural value, when we can help link sustainability and safety together, we can leverage some of that existing strength of the safety culture to spur people to be more interested in the sustainability culture. And again, this can happen through some relatively simple action customization. So to start with, there's a bunch of things in our standard deck that are health related. We're encouraging people to walk and bike, to take the stairs, to drink water from reusable water bottles, to a number of things that kind of relate to the health folks. It's typically pretty easy for our partners to engage their HR folks who are interested in health and well-being in collaborating around a Cool Choices program. In some cases, our partners add whole new categories to our deck. And one example would be a community category. We worked with a couple of municipalities that have really wanted to encourage their employees to be active in the community. And so we can add actions around that. Also, as I noted before, particularly when we're in heavy manufacturing, it's not uncommon for them to add a safety or a quality category. It gives people credit for some of the things they're doing around quality and safety, and also helps everyone connect that when we're ensuring that everyone is safe in our organization, or when we're ensuring that all of the products at the end of the production line meet quality standards, there's a sustainability component there. We're ensuring that we're not wasting resources in either of those cases. And connecting those dots can, again, create additional allegiance to the sustainability piece. One of the other areas that I think we see increasing interest in customization is about branding and brand loyalty, and doing that two ways. So doing it internal to the organization and external. Let me talk about internal first. Ideally, as you succeed as a sustainability professional in this organization, your colleagues are really excited about what you're doing, and they're out there in the world talking about the cool stuff that you're accomplishing and the amazing organization they work for. The trick is they have to know what cool stuff you're doing in order for that to happen. And here I think, as an example of our work with Gunderson Healthcare, which is a regional healthcare provider headquartered in Southwest Wisconsin. They have about 40 facilities covering parts of 3 states. And when we worked with Gunderson, they were kind of in a midway point on their journey to become energy independent. Gunderson today has renewable energy facilities that produce all of the energy they use across those 40 systems. When we worked with them, that was in process. One of the things that was really striking, though, at that time was that the majority of their staff were largely unaware of this quest. So when you talk to healthcare professionals around the country, folks tended to know that Gunderson was on this quest to be energy independent and was further along than anyone else in the country, and it was pretty exciting. But when I talked to clinic managers inside their system, they were like, I don't know if I heard anything about that. Does that affect my clinic? Kind of answers. And so, because even though they'd been putting materials in newsletters, that only reaches a segment of the population. Particularly in a place like healthcare where people are really busy saving other people's lives, some of those standard communication methods just aren't all that effective. By doing an engagement program where people got involved, where people were talking to each other about sustainability, the awareness of what was going on with Gunderson's Envision plan went up dramatically. And, which is a really important thing. In healthcare, that's an advantage to them in terms of retention, in terms of recruitment staff. So you want to think about how are you putting your sustainability message out there to your employees? How much pride do they have in what you're accomplishing? And, certainly both through actions and other messaging in the platform, we can do a number of things to ensure that you're getting to tell that story. It's also really important to tell that story externally to your customers. One of the things that's generated in any Cool Choices program are a series of employee photos. So employees submit photos of the sustainable things they're doing at home and work. Sometimes they submit team photos. Ultimately, you can end up with some really terrific digital assets in terms of examples of employees, ideally wearing your logo, and being the force of change in their communities, being part of a sustainable solution. And, the value of these assets is increasingly important. There's a growing body of research suggesting that consumers trust these kind of rank and file voices from a corporate community, the staff person saying, this is what I'm doing, more than they trust the kind of official statements of an organization. So I think we're really on the verge of seeing companies be a lot more interested in these digital assets just because they can help accelerate some of what's going on in those conversations. Ultimately, in aggregate, our aim is to maximize your results, regardless of which results you are sort of most interested in maximizing. Our aim is going to be to try to make that happen as effectively as possible. And, for us, that's about understanding you up front and then remaining in good communication throughout the process to ensure that you're getting what you need. And with that, my habit is to keep these short, as some of you know from being on past ones, rather respond to your questions versus chatting a long time. So I'm going to open things up for questions. You've got that GoToWebinar box on the side. If it's closed, there's an arrow where you can open it up and put a question in the box for me, and I will be happy to answer those. Okay, have a question about how customization works operationally in the when we start an engagement with an organization, customization typically happens in one of two ways. Sometimes organizations come to us with a really strong sense of what they want. So I think about, for example, city we worked with that had a sustainability plan with 9 categories of sustainability actions. They wanted to implement a program with those 9 categories, and so we provided we went through our existing action list and tried to figure out where things fit into their categories, gave them a draft, let them add things to that draft, and then we implemented that customization. That would be kind of a mass customization. There's very often kind of a mid-level customization where an entity might want to add up to a dozen actions to the deck tied to their priorities. And so in those cases, often that starts with a conversation where the entities may be just talking about what are the things that are really important to them. And often we're suggesting, well, here would be a way that we could integrate that as an action. So we try to keep it as simple as possible for folks, but also making sure that we're capturing the things that are of interest to you. And then a question about how pricing works relative to customization. So our primary metric in terms of our pricing model is the level of customization. So kind of pricing that based on how much customization you want. I would say we can follow up and talk more specifics about your particular interests. My email is there. Everybody should feel free to reach out to me if they've got questions after the webinar. I am not seeing more questions because I like to keep these things short, knowing how many other things each of you has to get done to make our sustainability goals a reality. I'm going to close things off there, I think. Thanks so much for your time today. Thanks for all you do to make sustainability happen in our workplaces and communities. And I look forward to chatting with you on another webinar or offline if you want to get in touch with me. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.